Okay. So what we're doing is we are wanting these 3 points. Okay. We want these 3 points to be supporting you. And it's, if this is a clock face, we orientate you with 12 o'clock in front of you, 3 o'clock to the right of you, 9 o'clock to the left of you, and 6 o'clock behind you. And we always want your second toe, yeah, to be facing 12 o'clock. Okay, I know that people think the natural thing would be to want their big toe to face 12 o'clock, but that's not what we're doing here. The second toe is kind of like aligned with your eyes, and it's the eyes of your feet. Okay, so second toe at 12 o'clock. Anyone who finds that that creates upper back, lower back pain, Ruta, for someone like yourself, just tuck your tailbone under. Okay, because what some people will find is when the second toe points to 12 o'clock, you'll feel like your knees are going in. Okay, and you tuck your tailbone under, you should hopefully feel that that just takes your knees out just a little bit. Okay, and we don't want any bent knees. This is not qigong, it's not soft knee yoga. This is about the engagement of joints. Okay, so let's have a go at this. So what I'm saying is, me just, when you, it's going to show you my legs to set this up correctly. Oh, bear with me. Right. So can you hear me okay? Wendy, is it okay? Yeah, okay. So if I'm saying to get your second toes pointing to 12 o'clock, some of you may feel it sends your knees like this. So then what you need to do is just tuck under from your pelvis, and hopefully you'll feel it creates more engagement. And we don't want arms on waists. That also puts a lot of pressure on the lower back. Just let arms hang. Okay. Okay. So I'd like to invite you to feel into your foot tripods. Those 3 points in your feet. So the point behind your big toe, point behind your little toe, and your heel. And just notice when you're feeling into those areas of your feet, where do you feel most of the pressure going through your feet? Is it at the front of the foot? Back of the foot? Might be more on the inside of the foot. Let's think more about your right foot. Actually, let's start with the right foot. So is the pressure more towards your big toe, your little toe, or your heel in the right foot? And there's 26 bones in that right foot. It's a miracle. All those little bones, some are tiny, some are bigger, and they're all designed to have a relationship with each other. But just notice which of those bones have got more pressure going down. And then bring your attention into your left foot. Again, you've got 26 bones in there. Let's think about the head of the first metatarsal in front of the big toe, that long bone. And the fifth metatarsal head in front of the little toe, and your heel. And again, just really feeling in those 3 points, where do you think you've got more pressure? And then I would just invite you to let your whole body almost sway slightly forwards from the front of your ankles. And you'll probably notice then that you feel more pressure moving into the front of your feet. And then allow from the front of your ankles, keeping all the feet on the floor, but for your body to kind of sway back from the front of your ankles, and you'll probably feel your toes want to come off the ground slightly. And then I would invite you to find a midpoint where the pressure of your body is going down somewhere in the middle. And now I would like you just to touch your belly button and just notice in terms of in a clock face, and this is very precise to the minutes of the clock. Is your belly button facing 12 o'clock, or is it 2 or 3 minutes before 12 or after 12? And if you were to move your belly button between 5 to 12 or 5 past 12, can really feel into your feet. Can you feel when your belly button moves around, does it change the pressure in the right foot first or in the left foot? And it may or may not. Okay, then just still your belly button. And just notice your tailbone. Is your tailbone traveling back towards 12 o'clock behind you, or is it tucking down? And if you tuck it down, you might feel that your glute muscles, your muscles in your buttocks switch on. And just with that, I want you to think about what is your normal. So if your tailbone travels from 6 o'clock towards 12 o'clock, what is your normal for your body? Where's your normal place? What feels familiar and what feels different? Okay. Now we're going to bring your attention into your right leg. And first of all, your lower leg bones. So you have these beautiful bones called your tibia and your fibula. And what I want you to do is let your right knee just almost collapse and bend towards your right foot, but keeping that foot tripod of the right foot fully on the ground. That's your boundary. Okay, that's your end of range. So your right knee is allowed to bend, but if it bends and wants to bring the heel off the ground, that's your end of range. Okay. And then straighten that right knee. I want you to really have a sense that this is your lower leg bones, your tibia and fibula folding back upwards from the foot. Those lower leg bones folding back up. And you get that beautiful, engaged, straight knee. And then let the knee just fold again. So you'll have a fold at the front of your ankle, a fold at the back of your knee. And also we're looking for a milder fold at the front of the right side of your pelvis. And this time, as you fold the knee back up, I want you to feel how just as the bottom heads of those lower leg bones are unfolding in the ankle, the top heads of those lower leg bones pushing your thigh bone back upwards as the knee folds up and extends, and just find that real straightening. So you start to feel that real relationship between the lower leg bones and the thigh bones. And this time, fold the right knee again. But as you do it, I want you to have a real sense that the lower leg bones are actually pulling the thigh bone down. Yeah, so as the lower leg bones fold down, your boundary is when your heel would want to come off the ground. Don't go that far. But just notice how this naturally pulls the right thigh bone down. And then straightening that right knee. I want you this time to feel that thigh bone being pushed up. So how the top head of the thigh bone then pushes up the right side of the base of the pelvis. And then again, folding down, letting the knee fold, and feeling how this is pulling the thigh bone down, but the top head of the thigh bone is the ball for the ball and socket joint of the pelvis. The socket is the base of the pelvis on the right side, and it's being pulled down. And then straightening that right knee, just feel all those beautiful mechanics, the 26 bones in the feet, the 2 lower leg bones, the thigh bone, everything as you fully straighten the knee, creating that ball of the top head of the thigh bone, pushing up the right side of your pelvis. And then just notice again, where is your tailbone, the coccyx of the spine, between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And just try and find a neutral place in the middle for your tailbone. And then we've now experienced connecting with the bones in your right leg, but not with the left leg. And just see, can you feel the difference between exploring the relationship and having connected with that power, that support, that engagement in the right leg, compared to what does it feel like in the left leg? Can you notice a difference? Maybe you can't. And again, just check with your belly button, feel into it. Do you think it's pointing to 12 o'clock? If not, just bring the belly button back to 12 o'clock. And that may also create a difference between left and right. And now we'll bring our attention to the left leg. So you've got your 26 bones in your left foot. These are amazing bones, all different shapes and sizes, all with a job to do, supporting all the other bones. And these are the parts of your body that connect with the ground every step you take, and the relationship of all of the mass, the center of mass of the body above, is coming down through these 26 bones. So just allowing them to spread and soften into the ground, almost feeling the flatness of the foot. And then I would invite you to just almost let the left knee collapse, but please try and keep most of the weight going down through your right leg while you do this. So just letting the left knee fold and feel those lower leg bones, the tibia and fibula folding down, feel the front of the ankle closing, the back of the knee closing, and the front of the left hip just being pulled down slightly. Then unfolding the knee, extending it, feeling those lower leg bones coming back up to straighten, feeling the levers connected to the base, well, the back of the ankle, the heel, and also part of the knee. And then folding the left knee again, really feeling those lower leg bones folding down towards the ground. Your end of range is when your left heel would want to come off the ground. And then straightening those lower leg bones, bringing them back up. And can you feel how as they raise, they push the thigh bone back up as well? And folding that left knee again and really feeling how the lower leg bones pull down the thigh bone as the knee bends. And then as you straighten the knee, can you feel the lower leg bones just pushing beautifully, calmly, but pushing the thigh bone back up? And then bending that left knee again, feeling that thigh bone now pulling the left side of the pelvis down. So we saw how the pelvis has 3 different parts, and this left knee is pulling down the left side of the pelvis. And then straightening that left knee, really feeling the thigh bone being pushed up, and that head of the thigh bone, which is the ball that goes into the socket of the lower part of the left side of the pelvis. And just doing that a couple more times, bending that left knee slowly as you can. The slower you go, the more you're going to connect to the power of your bones. Slowly, slowly, really feeling those bones go in, feel the bones, feel the joints. And then as you straighten that left knee, can you feel the power of the bones almost pushing up through the heel, through the lower leg, through the thigh bone, and into the pelvis? They're there to support you if you connect into their power. Okay. Now what I would invite you to do is do just 2 or 3 very small bends alternating between the right knee and the left knee. So fully bending, fully straightening, because what I want you to do now is to really activate the feeling of where the heads of the thigh bones connect in to the base of the pelvis. So tiny movements, but really seeing, can you feel when you bend your knee and then straighten the knee, how this has an impact with thigh bone that has a relationship with the base of your pelvis on both sides? So when you bend the right knee, you feel a little activation, and then when you straighten the right knee, you feel a kind of compression and support in the base of your right pelvis. And as you do the same left knee, again, you get that beautiful kind of sense of compression and support all at once. It's really, really beautiful.
So bending the left knee, feeling that hip joint opening, then straightening the left knee, feeling that compression and support at the base of the left side of the pelvis, then bending the right knee, feeling that kind of opening around the ball and socket joint at the base, the right side of the pelvis, then straightening that right knee, feeling that interesting combination of compression and support all at once, because this is aligned, correct engagement. Now, just for a moment, I'm going to invite you to have all your weight. You don't send your pelvis to the right, don't send it to 3 o'clock, but just an intention as if you have a wall on the right side of you, but put all of your weight into the right leg and then bend that knee. And if all of your weight is going into the right leg when you try and bend the knee, can you feel a sensation of jitteriness? It's just not a nice movement. It's far too much compression and center of mass going down that right leg. Whereas if you put all the weight down your left leg and then bend the right knee, you should feel completely different quality of the sensation of movement. Okay. And I just want you to be aware of that. Try that in the left side as well. So have an intention of all of your weight going down the left leg and then try and bend the knee. And can you feel what that feels like for your body? To try and move and support your center of mass at the same time is not a nice experience when you're standing still. Straightening that left knee. Now allow the weight to go down your right leg and then bend the left knee. And can you feel how then those joints and those bones are just free to bend, to soften? And then when you straighten the knee, can you feel kind of lightness and effortlessness of movement? So we work a lot with the relationship between center of mass and the movement of your bones and your joints. Okay, so now I would like to bring you back to the experience of sending your tailbone back towards 12 o'clock and then tucking under as if it's trying, the coccyx, the tailbone's trying to travel under and towards 12 o'clock. And I would invite you to just, again, what's your normal? For anyone who's joined, please get your second toes pointing to 12 o'clock. Your heels hip width apart, under your hip joints, straight knees, belly button facing 12 o'clock. And then I'm going to invite you now to bend your right knee, but this time as you bend the right knee, I want you to have your focus on the back of the pelvis and the area that is your sacroiliac joint. Now have most of your weight going down the left leg. And as you bend your right knee, can you feel a slight flattening and opening at the back of your pelvis? And then straighten that right knee. And as you straighten it, can you feel a sense of compression and a pushing upwards around your sacrum on the right-hand side? And do that again. Just bend the right knee. But I want your focus and attention to be where the spine is connecting in to the back of the pelvis. Can you feel a sense of flattening in the right side of your lower back and then straightening that right knee? Can you feel that sense of the pelvis pushing back upwards? Again, it's that interesting relationship of compression and engagement to the right side of the base of your spine. Now bend the left knee, all of those beautiful bones just folding down, but feeling into the area at the base of your spine. On the left-hand side, feeling you may or may not be able to feel a slight flattening in your lower back on the left-hand side. Then straightening the left knee, all those beautiful bones, pushing the left side of the pelvis upwards, which culminates in a kind of compression in the left-hand side of your sacrum. The relationship between the back of the left side of your pelvis and the left side of the base of your spine. And bending the left knee again, really noticing. And if you can't feel this because it's something your first introduction, that's fine. The very knowledge that you can't feel this is really, really important information for you. And then straightening that left knee, really, really pushing up, feeling the lower leg bones pushing up the left side of the pelvis and getting that compression in the left side of the sacroiliac joint at the base of the spine. Okay. Now I'd invite you to have a sense of keeping your pelvis still, but imagining you have a tail, which you may have just started to feel the connection of the sacroiliac joints at the base of your spine. And just sending that tail, starting with the tailbone, but also from the SI joints, sending that middle part of the base of your pelvis, the back of your pelvis, which is your spine, just sending it very gently, tiny movements backwards and forwards. And can you start to have a sense of your sacrum and your tailbone moving? And as you do this, do you notice when you send your tailbone backwards, do you notice a softening in your belly? And then as you tuck the tailbone under, as you send it down and towards 12 o'clock, do you feel an engagement of your belly muscles without trying to engage them? They're simply just switching on and off because of the direction of your bones. And then this time, as your tailbone goes back towards 6 o'clock, I would invite you to really feel how that movement travels up into the lower back. So you have your 5 lumbar vertebrae in the lower back, okay? And as the tailbone travels to 6 o'clock, you'll feel an arch. Then as you tuck your tailbone under and it's traveling under and towards 12 o'clock, you'll feel the arch slightly flatten. But for those of you who looked at the image of the spine, I really want you to really try and have a sense of those tiny bones. The vertebrae look like butterflies. They're all like butterfly shape. So you have these 5 lumbar butterflies in your lower back, and each of them has its own little range of movement. So maybe just take a little breath for each of those 5 lumbar vertebrae as if they're butterflies' wings. And just give a breath each time you go back towards 6 o'clock. Have a focus on the bottom one, then the next one, and just climb up and give each of those lumbar vertebrae a little breath for itself. And just notice, can you feel the little bit of engagement and release that each of those vertebrae have as your tailbone continues to swing between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And then when you come to the top of those lumbar vertebrae in your lower back, you have the connection into your thoracic vertebrae. So we have 12 of these, and they are connected to your rib cage. So just for a moment, just allow the tailbone to keep swinging like a pendulum between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock, and see whether you can feel that movement coming up. When you tuck under, can you feel your spine slightly flexing, coming in to the rib cage, the base of the rib cage? So this is going to kick in. For some of you, you'll know this as the solar plexus. This is where this relationship begins. And then as you send the tailbone back towards 6 o'clock, you'll feel the experience of those thoracic vertebrae. They'll feel more compressed, contracted. And as you send the pendulum of your tailbone back towards 12 o'clock, can you feel a kind of softening and flexing coming in to the rib cage area? And just notice when you do this with your tailbone moving like a pendulum. Again, now you've got 12 little butterfly vertebrae coming up through your rib cage. And it may feel very difficult to connect with these. This is very much the sympathetic part of your nervous system. It wants to be doing. It doesn't really want to come in and be quiet a lot of the time. But just notice, because these thoracic vertebrae in the rib cage are supporting a container of your rib cage, holding your heart, your lungs, your liver, your digestive tract. There's so much going on, so many frequencies and so much activity, all the muscles and connective tissue. And just notice, can you feel into this area, or is it like it's almost not there? keeping the swing of the tailbone like a pendulum. And then just still the tailbone, be still. And then see whether you could almost send the rib cage like a pendulum, keeping your pelvis still, your head still. Maybe feeling into those thoracic vertebrae from the bottom of the rib cage and just giving a tiny breath, a tiny engagement, 12 times coming up through those vertebrae. And then eventually you're going to arrive at your neck, where the cervical vertebrae connect in to the rib cage. And again, you could just send the tailbone swinging backwards and forwards. So send the tailbone back towards 6 o'clock and then tuck it under as if it's going towards 12 o'clock. And I want you to see, can you feel that movement, not only activating the lumbar and the thoracic vertebrae in your rib cage, but coming all the way up into your neck, simply by moving that tailbone backwards and forwards, keeping the knees extended, knees above heels, hips above knees. And just notice, can you feel that lovely movement of your whole spine being triggered? And then next week, we'll come back to this and we will explore more around the neck area and the arms and the rib cage to explore how do we activate, if you're someone who can't feel into the rib cage easily, how do we switch this on? How do we get you in to check in? And then start to travel back down through your rib cage, just still the pelvis, travel down through the rib cage, through the belly, down through the pelvis, and maybe bend one knee, then the other knee, just to feel into the base of that pelvic bowl, into the leg bones, traveling down through the knees, through the lower leg bones, and into those 26 bones in your feet. And then when you're ready, just opening your eyes, clocking what's in front of you, its shape, its color at 12 o'clock, and then clocking what's to the side of you at 3 o'clock, its shape, its color, then clocking what's an object at the side of you to 9 o'clock on the left side, its shape, its color, and then really rubbing your hands together. Okay, let's get those hands rubbing together, really warming up that energy, and then just stroking your body down, really coming back in to the outside of your body. Okay, really coming back in and coming back to the screen. Okay. That was a journey. We had a few people show up after that started. So yeah, hello to you. If you could turn your videos on, it would be really lovely to see you so we know who you are and we get to connect with you. So how was that? Who Anya, you came in really late, so that wasn't Matty, sorry I popped in, but have to go and watch repeat. Really, okay, Matty, thank you. Lovely to have you
I'll
here.
send you both repeats because I see your email about the other one as well, so I'll send you both today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was moving between Washington and Mexico last week, so the whole thing was a bit crazy with all the background admin, but we have the links. We have the links for the recordings. Okay, anyone want to share how that was for them? Kirsty, go for it.
I felt relief in my the top of my neck. So I actually had a massage this morning and I felt more relief off this call than I did from the massage. Probably a mixture of the both, but been having a lot, like I know that it's where I'm working on the computer and I'm getting that curvature, and it's been it's not painful, it's just discomfort. But when especially following up the spine and then engaging the tailbone, I just felt like the discomfort wasn't there anymore. Yeah,
Could
like
you
I could
feel
still
it?
Yeah, I could still feel it side to side, kind of in the top of the shoulders, but actually along the spine and the neck, it was relieving. So thank you.
Yeah, so we'll look a bit more at frontal plane and transverse plane in the next few weeks, because we were really just in sagittal plane today, the movement backwards and forwards. So the frontal and the transverse is really important. So that would make perfect sense. We teach 3D movement, obviously, and get into your body. So this really is a check-in. But how cool that you could notice that and you could pick up that there was a bit missing.
Yeah,
That's
thank
brilliant. Okay, pleasure. Who else has got some feedback? Yeah, Ken.
I got some. So can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I noticed my muscles really trying to do all the work. I was like, come on, let it go. But no, I mean, there's so much muscular involvement, especially when we were, just rocking the tailbone. My lower back was really super engaged. And so trying to relax those, then my abdominals try to kick in and do their, like, come on, you guys, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how amazing. And that's why these check-ins are so important. I mean, Ken, the gait alignment is really important, because that is the conversation we give the body to have with itself, which is where the muscles are told it's okay. We've got this. Yeah, we get the bones and the joints in correct alignment. And then after a while, the muscles trust that actually the bones and joints are there to support them. It's a really fascinating metaphor for life as well. It's really interesting, this relationship with the bones. When we finally come in, when we come home to them and we give them the opportunity, the muscles will switch off. Again, for some people, depending on their emotional holding, depending on the history of the reason for certain alignments, it can be, it's unique to everyone, the journey of realignment. But that's such great information. You could feel that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
I love it. I just love it. Ruta, how was that for you? Because we clocked that you had a back issue. So what was that like?
When you invited us to stand on the right leg or on the left, so for me to put all my weight on the right is really not comfortable. So let's say, when you would be waiting for a bus, probably I would be standing on the left.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then when you bend the knee and move it back, it's so interesting how it has to go like kind of around till it gets into the socket properly.
Okay.
And another funny thing, when you're moving through all the spine,
Yeah.
it's so interesting, but it's like, you like opening some sort of channel. You feel that energy going like,
I know.
I thought,
I know.
can you
I
actually
know.
activate something like that?
I know, and meditators generally start from the pelvis and they don't understand about foundation. And it's really tough. It's tough for a lot of people that they're starting from the pelvis upwards, because actually it's those mechanics of the support from the 26 bones and the orientation, that is life-changing for people. I mean, seriously, it usually doesn't even matter what pathology it is. Yeah. You felt it so clearly because it's back pain. But that's also the same for digestive disorders. It's the same for all kinds of pathologies. It's the same for fibromyalgia. It's the same for, so many pathologies, that this relationship between center of mass and correct engagement is it's everything, right? And for the energy, it's everything. I mean, Kirsty, that's why you've got me doing this in the community. There's no accident.
Ruta, I had something similar, like when I first did my session online with Victoria, within the first 10 minutes, I wanted a puncher. I wanted to, because I just had this anger come from somewhere. And then after that, I felt exactly what you just felt, that channel opening. And I was like, wow, this is powerful. And actually, I had a reminder of that today, and I had to get some water because I felt a little bit and we don't understand how powerful our bodies are, and allowing ourselves to open. And this is why I'm such a big advocate of bringing Victoria into the community, just purely because of that. So thank you for sharing that, because for me, that's what sold me as well. It was like we did one little movement from like there to there, and then I was like, what the F is this? This is a lot. Like, so yeah, thank you for sharing. And yeah, that's why I'm such a big advocate of Victoria and her work.
Okay. Paul, how are you? You're an avid new attender. You haven't missed a session. How's it going?
Yeah, I'd really love to do this on my own again, because I felt like I was a little distracted today, or even there was maybe just mind distractions. But it was very similar, where just really checking in. It's amazing. Like, obviously I'm used to meditation, but it's so, maybe even being in a group too, but it's so powerful just to do these little movements, like you said. But it's surprising, because it's like transcendent, because like we've been saying, it's like, oh, I feel like it's so easy in my day to maybe feel like pain or just discomfort, and then like when I do these little these little check-ins, because this isn't very long, it's like I can just feel these little subtle beautiful little things happening, and it's like, oh, okay, this is great. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. And you really get the relationship between emotion being energy and motion. Yeah, the motion of the body. You know, this is what my work is. This is what my work has been to bring in, is the relationship between motion and the biomechanics, and emotion, energy. Yeah, the energy part of the motion. But to simplify it, okay, you know, I try and teach this so a 10-year-old can understand it and a 90-year-old can do it. Yeah, that is my mission in life. Because actually, you know, as you say, these sessions are short. They're not designed to be, you know, you've got to do this discipline and it's really hard. They are designed to be simple and short, with maximum results, but hopefully at a pace that's right for you. Yeah, because it's also really important to not go too far too quickly, because there is a level of integration where in your feet, you 100%. It's really interesting. Yes, Anya, there is, of course, a recording. It's really interesting, Paul, that you said you felt distracted, because what we did today, which we haven't done in the past 2 weeks, is we started to visit the sympathetic part of the nervous system, which is mobilization. Okay, so we didn't do that last week and the week before. So the moment we're connecting with sympathetic mobilization, which is your spinal cord, right? It's all in there in the spinal cord. Then the body is wanting to do, the body is wanting to go. The body is like, and any history you have of fight or flight, we're there, we're visiting. So the very fact that you noticed your distraction is in and of itself part of you visiting. Yeah, and becoming conscious. And for many people, this creates, it's funny, Gina and I were talking about this earlier, it creates a head first, rib cage first movement through life, instead of being very firmly connected into the ground through your bones. Yeah, so in the gait realignment process, we teach you, we literally teach you to come back in. And distraction isn't a thing, because your brain is then so interested in the very mechanics of being present, yeah, and working correctly. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anyone else would love to hear? Gina, that was your first experience. Did you do the process?
I did. I felt I would get distracted. So what you just talked about made sense. It was almost like there was a resistance there, but when I could drop in, it was incredible. I could immediately, I felt things shift.
So that is the beautiful relationship between sympathetic and parasympathetic. When you drop in, literally those words, yeah, the energy is dropping in, you're coming into the bones. When you get those bones working correctly for you, you're parasympathetic, you'll rest and digest, you'll process. I mean, it's when you get that feeling, there is nothing better. You know, you stop wanting to get ahead of yourself because you're in and you're feeling like you're in, and it's all consuming and it releases pain. It's an, you know, because it's correct alignment and engagement. So it's the opposite to pain. So yeah, again, it's good you get that contrast. Yeah, all you head first, upper rib cage first people, yeah, you are all kind of in sympathetic mobilization. And you know, our goal with this system is to get, instead of your head and rib cage and sympathetic, trying to pull you forwards, we start getting the mechanics of your feet and propulsion, which is a whole other conversation, which we do for the main methodology. We get the propulsion working. And it's, well, again, that would be why certain people are here who are training as practitioners. And yeah. Anyone else got anything else to say? We've got a few minutes left before we finish.
I had a bit of an interesting observation around my feet this time.
Okay.
So get myself into the right position. I can feel my tripods equally on both feet, front, back, left, right, perfectly equally. Soon as I tuck my pelvis, both right and left first met are starting to lift up, and I'm then having to press them back into the ground.
Okay, so Wendy is a trainee practitioner. That's why you have the wedges. That's exactly when you need the wedges. So that's a whole other conversation, which new people hear, right? That's why you have the wedges. Okay, so that's great. That's happening because the mechanics are waking up. Just bring the ground closer to first met. Okay, and so that the foot isn't having to stretch and work, just meet it where it is. Yeah, and then you'll switch on and off because the acceleration and deceleration of those little muscles and the fascia will be met where it is, and then it will release like a spring. Yeah, like that. Sorry, that's a conversation for a much higher level.
It was just something I hadn't noticed before. So yeah,
that's a
and
whole
wedges is something that, you know, I've been kind of saying I'm a bit confused about when we use them. So actually that's really great, so that I can then
that's it. That's when you use wedges. So what we do, a lot of people will often say, oh, should, you know, they've got inner soles, or you know, oh God, what do you call them? The orthotics. Yeah. Orthotics. So people are going around with orthotics in their shoes supporting problems. Okay. So they'll go to a podiatrist or whoever it is, they'll be given something to support a misalignment. Okay. So what we do with have you got a wedge there, Wendy? Has anyone got a wedge? Is anyone here who's Henry's got a wedge, right? Just so people know what we're talking about. Okay, so what we do when we're doing the practices in the gait realignment is we bring in, could you put it sideways? That's it. So we use these little wedges, because then what it does is it just gives the foot an opportunity to be met where it is, to kind of feel supported, and then we move from there. Okay, and then after that, the foot kind of switches on and off. This is a whole other conversation, but that's why we use wedges, and it's completely transformative. So there can be people who can't move their shoulder blades, but when we put a wedge under their foot, then their shoulder blades will move. Yeah, or their pelvis. People can't move that. So for any of you, question, whose pelvis generally lives closer to 6 o'clock? Hands up. Tailbone in that. Okay, so what you have is your normal is an anterior tilt. Whose pelvis lived nearer with the tailbone tucked under near 12 o'clock? No one. And for anyone who knows about the psoas muscle, which is a very, very, very important muscle in your body, it travels the furthest distance of any other muscle. If your tailbone cannot get to that 6 o'clock place, your psoas cannot switch on correctly. And that psoas needs to switch on for rest and digest and parasympathetic to work well. Okay, so, you know, we go into all this world of what's creating what. Anyway, that'd be it for this week. From beautiful Mexico, here I am. It's my birthday this week, so I'm really doing the self-worth. I'm really walking the walk, and as well as talking the talk. And Excel, so the name of my system is Excel, the Excel system, from the bones and the stones. And so, of course, I've been brought back here for my birthday, you know, and I'll share this here because I believe it's the essence of what we teach. My dad and both his parents killed themselves, and everything I teach, my methodology is called Get Into Your Body. And it's because in terms of the DNA, the people I loved could not stay in. It wasn't a safe place, wasn't a healthy place. And what's incredible is my dad killed himself when he was 53, and I'm about to have my 54th birthday. And it's been such a journey. I know, you can, yeah, you know, it's everything I teach has been to stay alive, and also for my children to change patterns, to change alignments. I know you feel it. Yeah, so to be here and to have the community, we're doing something incredible. You know, we are changing people's lives. There are people in this room now who I just respect you and love you all so much for being here. Thank you, Ken. And,
thank you, Victoria. And please tell everyone when your birthday is so they can all wish you happy birthday.
My birthday will be on Saturday, and I'm actually going to be flying. So my birthday's on the 13th, and I'll be flying home to the UK on the 13th, 14th. And this last few days, you know, is really about me and being in alignment. And Excel is all about the bones and the stones. And, you know, it's been an extraordinary journey. And I know that all of you feel it in your body when you use this process. You all feel it for good. And, you know, we have work to do to spread this with people, because you're all in your own front room, yeah, or wherever you are. And these practices transform people's lives. And, you know, Kirsty, thank you. And all the practitioners here, thank you as well. And yeah.
And
we
thank
will
you, Victoria.
I'll
And
be
from
back
the
in.
bottom of my heart and everyone here, we all appreciate you. And as you can see, there's more and more people joining each week. So we all value what you do, and giving us a story behind it is so beautiful. So thank you. I hope everyone has a beautiful day. We have another online wellness center on Wednesday at 3 p.m. But yeah, have a beautiful day, everyone. And just as an FYI, because I didn't understand this after I started with Victoria, sometimes emotions come up after the session. So anything that you're feeling throughout the day, just go with it. Know that it's being released and that you are loved. So have a beautiful day, everyone.
Absolutely. And message me. If you've got any questions, just message me personally. Please don't have unanswered questions. Yeah, just get in touch. All right. All right, everyone. Lots of love.
Thank you, everyone.